poem. Just the fact that she memorized them. Oh my goodness, that is wonderful.
It is impressive.
That's really hard. That's yeah, just that alone. Okay, so as I was saying, we will talk about Thanksgiving, about blessing and so forth. And if you want God to bless you, you obey, you trust, and so forth. It sounds like it's so complicated, but it really isn't. And God knows we're not perfect. God knows you're going to make mistakes. God knows that, you're going to get angry and upset and whatever, frustrated. But all He wants is just for you to live the best life you can by obeying His rules. And He does have rules, and they are set in the Bible. And one of them is the 10 Commandments, which most of us do know it, and sometimes we break them here and there. But when you do, He knows you're human, and He will forgive you. You just, say, I'm sorry, God, and that's all it takes. You know what I'm saying? In the form of Thanksgiving, I am so thankful, besides all my blessings that I have had with my family and my friends and Dorn space and my health. The one thing, because my little grandson Noah, for Thanksgiving, like I said, we had them all together, everybody was together, and he made this wooden little stick at school. And that little wooden stick, he painted it, and he wanted everybody to pass along in his classroom, and he did the same thing at home. And everybody, when they hold on to it, they got to say one thing that they're thankful for. So he took it. What was it called? A thankful stick. That's what, of course, a thankful stick. So that makes sense. That's a good title. So, so he brought it to our Thanksgiving dinner, and each person, and he told them, everybody has to, when you hold the stick, you're gonna say one thing that you're thankful for. And everybody says some really interesting things, some were silly things, and that was okay. We were having a good time. But when it was my turn, one thing I did say, and I just couldn't help myself, besides saying the blessings, and one thing I should have said that I didn't say, besides saying thank you for all my blessing, the number one thing that came to me afterwards, but my moment had passed, so God knows, that I am so thankful for God giving us His Son. Because if He didn't, where would we be? If it wasn't for the ultimate sacrifice that He gave us His only Son to die on that cross, to suffer those stripes, to suffer the pain that He went through, we wouldn't be here right now. We wouldn't be enjoying our life to the fullest, because we'll be miserable, because we know through Him, Jesus, we have peace, we have love, we have a future with Him, salvation. So that's one thing I'm really, really thankful. And besides my family, my friends, like I said, but I am so thankful to God for sending us Jesus.
Amen.
So that's something to think about. I know you all are also thankful. I know the next person is coming up, which is going to be Chris. He is very thankful for many things. So coming up next is Christopher.
Thank you. I had to go to 2 meetings. My life's been with roller coasters. I had to go to a Knights of Columbus meeting, and I went to they canceled my Christmas party today, unfortunately. So I told the Dorns that I do have 3 sponsors that will be coming here starting next month. So I thank for that. However, in the meantime, I was thankful a lot for Thanksgiving too. I had a very small Thanksgiving. My family was only at 9 people. My grandma's still in the nursing home, so we're trying to get her slowly moving into our house. So we're getting there. However, I did write a little novel. I'm going to only read a couple parts of this, and it's called The Case of the Missing Tabernacle, a novel. You think your faith is safe? Well, think again, by Christopher Lasner. I wrote this about 9 years ago. The contents are introduction, prologue, chapter 1 the story, chapter 2 the case, chapter 3 the evidence, chapter 4 the interviews, chapter 5 the person, chapter 6 the suspect, chapter 7 the trial part 1, chapter 8 the trial part 2, chapter 9 the jury's deliberation, chapter 10 the verdict, and the final is the epilogue. Introduction. I've been writing stories, plays, and poems for a long time, so long that I remember writing my first short story. It was back in 2nd grade. The story I wrote was called Mapathol. However, I do not remember why it was called this. I do remember what it entailed. It had a special meaning. There was a king and queen in the story. They were married, but the marriage was not going the way it was meant to be. So this married couple has had it. It would turn upside down. The very short story turned into violent misbehaviors. Anyway, enough about that. I'd like to talk about this novel. This is my first religious novel ever written. Also, it is a mystery. When I thought of the title, The Case of the Missing Tabernacle, I right away knew that it was going to be a religious mystery story. However, I was at first unclear if it was going to be a novel. So I decided to think outside the box. This novel is a combination. There are only 10 chapters, and each of them has a different title. It evenly flows well with the story. I hope you enjoy with all of your hearts this novel as much as I have. So enjoy. Christopher Lasnik, 2009. Prologue. I was a normal Catholic going to church every Sunday and all holy days of obligation, the man said. Then it happened. What happened, I said. The tabernacle was stolen, then he added. At first I thought it was lost or it had gotten lost. How did this happen, I said. The man was silent for a moment, then he spoke, but only a small word. A word very peculiar. Jesus. Chapter 1, the story. It was midwinter 2009 in New York. I was sitting at my desk in my office. I was on another case when I had a call on my office phone. It was my boss, George Coffett. We have a big case to cover down in Manhattan. There's been a stolen item, but I am unclear where it is and what it was. I expect to see you down in my office at 10:30 sharp, and don't be late. Got it? Yes, sir, I will be there, I said. Good, Caldwell. Coffett said, and he hung up the phone. My name is Michael Robert Caldwell, P.I. I'm a private investigator. I work for the NYPD in downtown Manhattan. I've been a PI for over a decade, and I have been receiving a lot of cases, but not as good as this one. It was 10:20, and I only had 10 minutes to get down to Coffett's office when the phone rang. Is this Michael Robert Caldwell, PI? Yes, I said. Who is this? I knew it was not my boss. You don't know who I am, the voice said in the phone. It was 10:25. I had only 5 minutes before I was going to hit the 10:30 sharp time. George Coffett hates when people are late. The reason is, if you're late once, he says, you will never see light again, if you know what I mean. Anyway, this was one of those cases where I did not care if I was running late. So I sat down in my black leather chair and listened to what this strange voice had to say. I know about this case that you are headed to in downtown Manhattan. Yes? How do you know of such a case? I said in a puzzled voice. I hope you are a religious man, Mr. Caldwell. Why, should I be? Well, the voice began to say, I know more about this case than you, Mr. Caldwell. Yes, go on, I said. I only have a few minutes to explain about this case. So what do you know? This is when he began to tell me the story. This is the very first time I've read it here at the Dorn space. I do like compliments that, because when I'm finished with this novel, it will be published, I hope, and it will be given to the Dorn space next year for Christmas. I know things, many things, he said. Like what, I said. The case, he said. What about the case, I said, so I continued. You must tell me, as you know, I am a PI, private investigator. I know you are the investigator, and I am a voice on the phone. Then why don't you tell me about this case? It's important I need to know about several things like time, the place, and the light. Then I added, but I need to tell Coffex, my boss, this. The voice on the phone took a deep breath and said nervously, I need to go, but I will call you later. Let's say 11:30. He hung up the phone before I spoke. I sat in my black leather chair thinking about what he said. As I was sitting, the phone rang. I didn't bother to look at my watch to see what time it was. So I picked up the phone. It was Coffex. Caldwell, he said, shouting. Yes, sir, I said. Where are you? I'm in my office, sir. Why haven't you come to my office? You know that you have a case. Then he said, you better have some explaining to do. You know I don't like people to be late, especially when it is time like this. Now then tell me why you're late, Caldwell. I had this strange call on my telephone, sir. That's a good one, Caldwell, he slapped, laughing. No, really, sir, it's true, I said. Then I added, I can even tell you how it happened. All right, shoot, tell me the story. Here I go. So I told him the story about the strange telephone call. Remember when you called me about the case? Yes, go on. Well, as soon as you told me about the case, I said with a pause. Then I continued. You told me to come to your office at 10:30 to discuss the case. Also, you did not know where the case was. You did not know how it happened, remember? Yes, go on. It was exactly 10:20, and I was on my way out of the door to go to your office. Then what happened? As I walked out of the door, the telephone rang, and it was the strange voice on the other end. Then what happened, Caldwell? The strange voice told me about the case. So what did the voice tell you, Caldwell? He had told me that he knows about the case. What did the voice say about the case? He asked me if I was a religious man. He also said that he only had a few minutes to explain. Then what did he say? He said he knew things, many, many things. Also, he said he had to go. That's it? That's all the voice told you, Caldwell? Yes, sir, that is all. But he said he would call back at 11:30. Good, Caldwell, good, Carfax said and hung up the phone. The phone rang, and looking at my watch, it was 11:30. So I picked up the receiver and said, Michael Robert Caldwell, P.I. I saw a crime and you do the time. May I help you? I told you I would call at this late hour. It was a strange voice. Yes, and you did, and I thank you, I said. Now, can we continue our conversation from before? Yes. My name is Father Jacob McGivern, and I am a priest at a local church here in New York. I know about the case. Yes, but why did you sound so very strange on the phone an hour ago? I'm sorry about that. I was just dumbstruck about the case, that I couldn't speak right. Anyway, it happened at an Immaculate Conception Church in downtown Manhattan. Then he added, this was my church where I worked. I understand. Can you tell me what happened? It happened around 12 noon when I was doing a wedding. There were 200 invited guests at the ceremony. Anyway, after the bride and bridegroom renewed their vows and said, now you may kiss the bride. It happened, the tabernacle. What about the tabernacle? It became time to pass out the body and the blood of Christ. Yes, go on. And one of my Eucharistic ministers go and get the other dish. Yes, go on. When the minister did, the tabernacle became missing. Yes, and then what happened, Father? The minister came and said to me, Father, the tabernacle, it's gone. When the minister said this, I just laughed. Why did you laugh? I usually do jokes to make the parishioners laugh in a time of need. So you thought it was a joke, Father? Yes, I did, Inspector. Why? Because I thought it was a punchline to a joke, the ending of a joke. I know, but why? Like I said before, Inspector, a punchline. So then what happened? Nothing. 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 Then Father McGivern added, I will contact you again. When? Tomorrow morning. Just listen for the phone to ring. Okay, good night. Good night. He hung up the receiver. I'm going to finish this chapter if you don't mind. It's only about about a page and a half.
Okay.
Is that okay? Okay. It was midnight. I was on my way down to Carfax's office. I got there under 5 minutes. When I arrived, I knocked on the door. Figuring Carfax was there. Come in, said a voice behind the door. Is that you, sir? I said. No, the voice said. As I entered Carfax's office, I saw someone sitting in a chair. Who are you? I said. I'm a new hire. My name is Elizabeth Vanessa Adore, but my friends call me Eva, she said. A new hire? Carfax did not mention about a new hire, I said in question. Yes, a new hire. Mr. Carfax hired me yesterday to work on this case. So I asked what my position was. So my position, he said, was going to be his what? Secretary. Secretary. Why does he need a secretary? I don't know, but he said he needed one. This doesn't make sense anyway, I said. Where is George? He said he went out. Out where? On the job. Oh, to work on the case. That's right. He said I have to find out some things. Okay. When he returns, tell him that Caldwell likes to speak to him. Okay, she said. I was walking out of the door, and the secretary stopped me and said, Mr. Caldwell? Yes. George may not return for a long while. I was completely silent for a long time. Then I said, what do you mean a long while? I think he went out and never to return. Madam, I said, my boss wouldn't just leave just cause. Then I added, besides, he's my boss, and he knows what is up and what is down in life. Plus, he's hired me to do this job. So why would he just not come back? I don't know, Mr. Caldwell. I just don't know. End of chapter 1.
Yeah.
Thank you. Merry Christmas. We'll be finishing next week.
Very good.